This shows you a little bit about the way I've got this press set up on this board. Underneath the press is a collection area where the primers go. When you deprime, the primers go down a slot here at the base of the unit and find their way into a little area underneath the press. So I've got this thing on washer risers such that I can get to these spent primers and not have to keep taking this thing off the mount. Okay, like I said, I've raised this thing up on some washers so that the primers can get out. However, they've been rolling over the floor and stuff. I'm going to see if I can modify this little plank as I've outlined over here. I'm going to try to use a spade drill bit to take out some of that wood to provide a little pocket in this board to serve as a catch area, so it's a little bit easier to deal with this. We'll see how this works out. Okay, first things first, I've taken the press off of the board. Now I'm going to mark better the area where I actually want this scalloped area of board to be, roughly. We'll see how this thing works out. And I'm going to drill this area out. These are just some of the primers that were used up last time I deprimed. Let's take a peek at this. Now you can see on the area that I penned, I basically took a 1-inch spade drill bit and I kind of put 3 little circles in those areas I outlined, and I'm going to start digging holes in this wood to make a shallow depression to catch these primers temporarily and not have them roll all over the board. So here you see the little dents it left in the board before I put the board back on. These are basically, if they work, designed as catch areas to get those primers as they shoot underneath the press so they don't roll all over the place. We'll see how this works out when I put the press back on. Okay, here's the side of the press showing the exposed area. I've taken the risers out because I don't see any reason for them anymore. Now we just have these small areas, one on either side of the press, in order for the primers, the spent primers, to come out when decapping. So let's see how this works. Okay, now let's decap some brass and see if these primers, these spent primers, go where I've designed in the board. Well, it's not rolling around, so it must be under the press. Still under the press. That one fell on the floor. Now some are rolling out on this other side over here. Key is they're not rolling all over the board, which is what they used to do. When they came out, they used to roll all over the damn place. And now they're really not doing that. Well, let's see if I take this thing and turn it, whether they roll into those gutters, which is what I was used to do when I was dumping this thing in the waste paper basket. You see on this side of the board, they're ending up in that pocket. There are a couple of primers in that pocket. Now when I turn this thing on its side, they're rolling out. I probably got to make that a little bit deeper. The bottom line is it seems to be working to keep them from rolling around. I may have to deepen the part in the bottom in order to give them an easier avenue to come out. This shows you my final version of the project. Those measurements on the slide before on the depth of these pockets are the final ones, which are 1/4 inch on each lateral side and 1/8 of an inch in the center. And as you can see, I've deprimed, and the primers are coming out nicely without having to shake the board or anything. You just occasionally have to empty them when they get to be full. But this makes it so, most importantly, you don't have to remove the press from your board. And secondarily, those risers, as I mentioned before, resulting in primers ending up all over the place. So this is a neat and clean solution. Have a good one, everybody.